Here with you, Sha Walker, co-founder and CEO, Jumpstart Test Prep, now in the Element Well studio. Sha, good to see you.
Good to see you, Gerard.
So, I was just thinking about when I took the ACT, which was a long time ago, there really wasn't any sort of aids that I could recall. I don't remember any tools that you could use to try to prep you and help you make a better score on the ACT. And as time has gone on, and I know you're going to explain this, the score one makes is become more valuable. A high score could be used for lots of value. Admissions, of course, scholarships, and there may be some other sort of aggregate benefit, right, to the state, a school district, et cetera. But I don't remember having tools available back in those days. You just kind of had to wing it and show up and do your best.
Well, there were tools then.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
That's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. I think the first company that really made a name for itself in the prep type business was Kaplan.
Okay. Very familiar with them.
Robert Kaplan's deal, and I think he was out of Chicago. And he had a knack for helping students perform better on the ACT as well as the SAT. So it's been roughly the same test format since the 50s, late 50s. So there's been a few changes along the way. Mostly I've seen with the SAT. SAT has never had science on their test plan, their test blueprint. And they've changed the SAT format because you used to be penalized if you got a question wrong. You would back up and score. And they changed that a few years ago, and now you're not penalized for guessing. You need to answer all SAT questions, and you don't back up if you get it wrong. There's fewer answer choices. So on multiple choice questions, there's 4. On the SAT. On the ACT, there's 5. So actually the ACT has become a little more stringent in perspective. But
interesting. Well, so tell us about the company. When did you start the company?
Well, I'm a parent. I had a background in test prep. I worked for a company called Hearst Review Services out of Brookhaven that was founded by one educator and her novel approach to helping students pass the NCLEX exam, which is the state nursing. All states have the same test. It's called the NCLEX. You're not going to practice nursing even if you make stellar grades in your nursing program until you pass that test. And it's a safety test, I've learned. It's more about, are you going to kill somebody on your first day on the job? Sure. So it's making sure that you understand nursing content the way that needs to be practiced. And she had a great and still a wonderful prep program for passing the NCLEX. She learned to review 4 years of nursing content in a roughly 24-hour time frame, in a short time frame before you go and take the NCLEX, which was making helping students make a major improvement over first attempt success rate on the NCLEX.
Wow!
So she touts over 98% success rate if you take her course. And worked there for 8 years and helped her take the company nationwide. Now it's taken a lot of Kaplan's market share. I think it's nationally known as the preferred way to prepare for the NCLEX exam, and it's right there in Brookhaven.
How about that?
So it was, that was my background, and along comes my daughter, and she had taken the ACT 6 times. She had done the prep class at school, and I bought her a Princeton review book, and I remember practice tests that she worked on, but she, through 6 attempts, she had gone from a 20 to a 24, and we wound up at Ole Miss orientation, and I tell everybody I was pissed off that day. I'm a bulldog. I wanted to be in Starkville, but there we were in Oxford, and at the orientation they said 24 was good enough for a $500 a semester academic scholarship, but every point after that was essentially another $500 a semester. And I looked at my wife and I was like, we got to try this one more time. I had no idea. And they said that this is the last month she can ever submit a score as an entering freshman for scholarship purposes. So my wife got on her phone, signed her up, paid the late fee, the walk-in fee to take the ACT one more time the following Saturday. So we came back to Brookhaven, and on the drive, calling everybody I knew who can help my daughter. And I didn't know Doc McClendon. I born and raised, lived my whole life in Brookhaven, never crossed paths with her, but 55-year educator, 40 years in ACT prep. And everybody said the same name when we talked. And so called her up, and she said, well, good news for you. I still teach at the Mississippi School of the Arts. We have the second highest ACT scores in the state. I'm going to do a review starting tomorrow, and it's going to be intense. It's 6 hours a day. It's 4 days of content review. We're going to review the content, the time practice, tips and strategies. And if she comes to my class, I'm going to move her. And I'm thinking, well, if you move her a point, you just save me $2,000 off tuition. Yeah, we're in. So my daughter went to the class, took the ACT that Saturday. She moved 5 points in math, 5 in science, 3 in English, 3 in reading over her best 6 prior attempts.
Wow.
So moved her up to a 27, saved me a fortune on tuition. and I went to my daughter and said, what did y'all cover in 24 hours that can make this kind of difference in your score?
Yeah.
And what she said next really started the company, because she told me, Dad, Dot started reviewing things I haven't seen since the 8th grade. And it really let me know that my senior was so far down the line from the content that's really being tested, most of the content, that there was no way for her to do her best without a complete review.
Okay.
And so I went to Dot, told her about my background, told her, obviously she had forgotten more about the ACT than most people will ever know. We could take what she knows about this and how to get students ready and make it available online so that teachers everywhere could leverage it in the classroom. Parents could buy it like me and put it in play to help students perform better. And that's where it got its start. That was 2 years of just product development before we really ever sold anything, and testing to prove our product out. And it took off. And so now we're in probably 150 schools in 7 states where parents buy this. You can buy it a la carte. You can buy one subject if it's what you need help with. And we've got a cool calculator that's free on our website. It's jumpstarttestprep.com. But every parent that calls us, we point them to this calculator because we were asked the same question by every parent. Where should my child focus their attention to get the improvement, the gain that we want? And so the calculator that we built will calculate the super score. So ACT will do that for you, Gerard. If you've taken the ACT 4 times, you put all of your scores in, and it calculates your super score. It takes the best score of the 4 subsets: English, reading, math, science, and it gives you your super score. Well, colleges accept the super score now for scholarship purposes.
I didn't know that.
But the calculator will go one step further for your student. Once that data is entered, the student can then change the super score to their goal. So let's say I entered my 4 attempts and it gives me a super score of 25, and I move that over to 30. I want that to be my goal. It automatically evenly distributes the gains you need to see in all 4 subject areas to pull that goal off. But then the student can look at it and say, I'm not going to move any more math. And they can adjust math back down to their prior best score. And when they do, it raises what they need to get in the other 3 subject areas to get the goal. So they continue adjusting this until they feel comfortable with what the calculator is saying they need to score in all 4 subject areas. And then they hit one button, and it predicts for them the number of additional questions they need to get correct in every subject area to pull the goal off.
Okay.
So it's the first step of motivation. When your student sees out of 60 questions on the math test.
That's a lot better than the old Kaplan books, which is all we had back then.
If your student is saying, I don't think I can improve, I don't think I can do better, when they see that all they need to get is 4 or 5 more questions right out of 60 in math to pull their goal off, that's the first step. I can do this. I can do it. So
all right, so where do you learn more about it?
On our website, jumpstarttestprep.com. And it's no mystery to me why it works. If you review the content that's going to be on the test in a near time frame to test day, you're going to score better.
Unbelievable.
So we've gone into, I don't know if you know or hear the talk about work keys in the state, but the state is looking at implementing work keys assessment, a job skill assessment, statewide to all of our students in public schools. And we've got a great prep for that as well. There's 3 subject areas there that are tested: graphic literacy, workplace documents, and applied math. And if you think about it, these kids in high school are our emerging workforce. They've never seen a workplace document. There's no way they can perform their best on this without realistic time practice. So
wow.
Got some great prep there too, but
cool stuff. Appreciate you coming on, Shay. Really good stuff. Once again, it's jumpstartprep.com. Learn everything you need to know right there.
Jumpstarttestprep.com.
Test prep. Pardon me. I didn't read the whole thing. Thank you. I'll do it again in the next segment. Appreciate you coming on, Shay. So we brought Shay back. Sha Walker, co-founder and CEO, Jumpstart Test Prep. And that, too, is the URL for the website. So there's something that's a bit unique about the state of Mississippi and how the ACT is handled there. Talk about that, Shay.
Well, students in this state, if you're in public school, you're blessed. You're provided one free attempt at the ACT provided by the state. And what that does is open the door to college readiness for students who wouldn't have taken it otherwise. It removes all the barriers, transportation, calculator, everything is taken care of for all students in this state get that attempt. And only a dozen states offer that. Some, maybe 7, offer only the SAT, and some offer either or. But when you see this press about the ACT scores going down nationally, that all students in America aren't provided that opportunity. Mississippi provides it to all students. Well, if you think about it, that makes our average lower. If we're going to test everybody that's walking into a public school, our average is going to be lower than, for example, Massachusetts. That is the only attempts there are those that are college bound. Mm-hmm. So when we look at how our state performed, our graduating class average, you would expect it to be significantly lower than the national average. Yeah, and it's within 2 points of the national average. So right now our graduating class average last year was 17.6. A good comparison for us in Mississippi is our neighboring states, Alabama, Louisiana. They also provide the ACT to all students in public schools. Alabama's doing the best job of it. Their average last year was 18. Well, I take that back. Louisiana actually ticked up 0.2 of a point, so they're 18.2. Both of those states tackle it a little bit differently. They put more emphasis on the ACT in their school accountability model. So for the school letter grade that you see in the newspaper of your local school, more of that is tied to college and career readiness in those states than it is in Mississippi.
I'll be darned. So. Well, is there some talk in the state of Mississippi about reforming the model? I've heard that there is, and I've heard that that change is coming, that there will be more emphasis on college and career readiness. I don't know if you're familiar with that WorkKeys job skill assessment, but much more emphasis is being put on that to get our emerging workforce more equipped for employment. Okay. And I was at a conference recently and heard that Gino Perkins from Nissan state to the entire audience that you don't work at Nissan at a job at an entry-level position unless you score silver on the WorkKeys. And so more and more employers are requiring it, or at least recommending that you take the WorkKeys along with your resume when you apply for employment. And it's a great job skill assessment. It gives the employer great insight into what your skill level is and what job you might be best suited for. You might be looking to hire a person for a bookkeeper, but you see because of their WorkKey scores, they might be much more qualified for the position you're considering. So sure. It is a great. I think the state's on the right track to provide this for all students. Obviously. Workplace documents. Most kids in high school have never seen a workplace document. So the same is true for ACT prep as it is for WorkKeys prep. Meaningful prep before you go in and take an exam will improve your score. And I don't think I'll get an argument from anybody out there about that fact. This isn't tricks or gimmicky. This is meaningful review and practice of what you're about to be tested on. And if you've got the aptitude to accept that and learn from that and improve your score, then that you're demonstrating what an employer wants to see. Yeah, that you've got the ability to learn. Well, it's good stuff, and I also know, just working some in economic development, that there are ways of assessing the sort of the workforce readiness of an area, a community.
Yep.
And I just wonder if this couldn't figure into that assessment as well.
It will. When you compare, let's say a major manufacturer is choosing between our state, Alabama, and Louisiana for proximity reasons, they want to be here. If we can show a more ready workforce through this assessment, we've got a higher skill level than our neighboring states in the emerging or underemployed workforce that we have, then we get the business. We get the manufacturer.
That's right. I know firsthand they do look at that big time, and they make their decisions accordingly. But appreciate you staying with us a few minutes and adding that additional color. That's pretty important to know about that.
Thank you for what you do, Gerard. I know you're after the right things, and as are we. We want all students to perform their best on these assessments because so much matters.
Well, it does, and it's key to scaling our economy and just increasing job opportunities and attracting businesses and investment into the state and boosting those household incomes and per capita incomes, and that's my goal. I think everything kind of stems from that. Appreciate it, Shay. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, Mike.